Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Mid-fall elections are coming up and a lot is at stake, and not just on the policy questions. If Democrats win, and at this point that could definitely happen, maybe it's even likely to happen, they will immediately try to impeach the president. Now, they claim they're not planning to do that, but that's untrue. They've wanted to impeach Trump since the day he took office. The first crime they alleged, you'll remember, was collusion with Russia. Then they claimed obstruction of justice for firing Jim Comey, because firing people in the federal government is by definition obstruction. After that, they fantasized about impeaching the president for the supposed crime of pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords. Then it was the immigrant family separation. And then it was the Helsinki press conference with Vladimir Putin, which they told us was treason. Now there's the news this week that Trump paid off an ex-girlfriend in an extortion scheme. They're claiming that's impeachable, too. No doubt there will be other high crimes they tell us about in the near future. The pretext doesn't really matter, actually. Democrats want to remove Trump from office because they hate him. That's the reason. If they get their congressional majority back, they will start that process on day one. They will have to do that because their base demands that they do that. Look at the polls. That tells you the whole story. Republicans, of course, are horrified by all of this, but they shouldn't be horrified by it. Unlike a special counsel investigation or sabotage by career federal bureaucrats, impeachment is legitimate. It is a constitutional process. If you think a president has committed high crimes, you impeach him. That's what the document tells us to do. You put him on trial in Congress. You present your evidence. You let the Senate decide guilt or innocence. There's nothing secretive about it or stealthy. It all takes place in public. It is a totally transparent process. Voters get to decide what they think, and then they render their judgment at the ballot box. Last time Congress impeached a president, voters did not like it at all. They punished the party that did it, the Republicans, in the midterm elections of 1998. That was 20 years ago, but Democrats, who have a long memory, remember it well. And that's why they're lying about their intent to impeach Trump right now. Democratic lawmakers act like the thought of impeachment has barely crossed their minds. Impeachment? Really? What? It's the same tactic they use with immigration and so many other issues. Hide their real goals and hope the country doesn't notice. Well, we have noticed. So let's have an honest debate about it. Joining us now is Christy Setzer. She's president of New Heights Communications. Christy, thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here.
So you will concede, I hope, that there's really no, and by the way, this is not an attack, as I just noted, merely an observation. There's really no question that Democrats will have to initiate impeachment proceedings against Trump if they retake the House.
I'm not sure about that. What I do think is that Democrats want some measure of accountability. I think that we've been extremely frustrated, not to put too fine a point on it, by the last 20 months in which no matter what Trump has done, whether it has been a series of things that most Americans find immoral or un-American, or even at this point actively criminal behavior, Republicans have sat on their hands and done nothing about it. We've seen hearing after hearing on Hillary's emails, but none on, let's say, to get to the bottom of the Trump Tower meeting.
Well, there has been quite I think we've covered it maybe every night for the last year and a half, this Russia investigation, two of them actually, one initiated by Congress, the other by the special counsel. But I just don't understand why everyone's so embarrassed of impeachment. That is the constitutional remedy. It's a political process. It's designed to be a political process. The rest of us can participate in it by voting. Why are we lying? Why are Democrats lying about impeachment? Oh, well, we're not really sure. Of course you're going to impeach him. You should impeach him. If you think he committed crimes, impeach him. Why is that a scary thing to say?
Because it's one of many options, right? Right now, we're looking at several different ways, I believe, that the president could be held accountable. The biggest one and the most salient one, I think, for most Democrats are the November elections, in which, yes, there will be measures to hold the president accountable if Democrats take back the House and, hell, maybe even the Senate. But the other way is judicial accountability. We are now talking about a president who has potentially committed crimes. He was the unindicted co-conspirator in Michael Cohen's case.
But before I ask you about that crime, let me just ask for the third time this question. Why not just say the most accountable form of accountability is impeachment, because it's transparent, unlike the legal proceedings we're watching, certainly unlike the creepy special counsel investigation. There's nothing hidden about impeachment. You present your evidence in public in an open court. Why are Democratic leaders lying about that? Well, we're not really sure. If you think he committed crimes, why wouldn't you impeach him? What is the answer, honestly?
I think the answer, honestly, is that some people have called for that, but the political reality is that you take 67 votes in the Senate.
Oh, the public doesn't like it. Oh, I get it, because if there was broad public support for it, then you would do it. But if he's such an obvious criminal, why isn't there public support for it?
Well, the real question is, why isn't there Republican support for it, right? That is the political reality.
Because their voters don't want it. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's a political process.
But why wouldn't they want it, given that, again, the president has committed a crime,
they disagree
more
with
than
you.
one federal crime?
Because they disagree with you. And disagreement is still allowed, despite the left's attempts to criminalize it. We're allowed to disagree still for this brief moment. So, again, my question is, if it's so obvious the president has committed all these crimes, why doesn't the majority of America want him impeached? I'm confused.
I'm not sure that they don't, to be honest. But again, I think that the more immediate goal for Democrats should be political accountability and judicial accountability.
Well, you have political accountability. It's called impeachment, but you don't want to do it because despite all the carping about how he's a criminal, you still haven't convinced the public of that. And I wonder if that gives you pause. You spend 2 years telling everyone that he's a racist and a felon, but they still don't believe it. Maybe they don't believe you.
I think that the views on actually are changing. If you look at the Democratic base, for example, they actually do want that, and the majority of independents do as well. But at the same time, again, I don't think that that should be the only option.
No, but it's the legitimate one. It's rather than use entrenched career federal bureaucrats to undermine the president in really the least legitimate possible way. Why not just man up and do it in an honorable constitutional way? That's my plea to you. Please do it. But let's get to the crime. So you will concede that he was extorted by Stormy Daniels. He paid her over $100,000 because he didn't want her to talk. That's extortion. I think we all would.
No, that is paying off a porn star to keep silent about something that he.
Why is that not extortion? If I say I'm going to tell the public about something bad you did unless you pay me money, that's called extortion.
This is actually a pattern of behavior that Donald Trump has, not just with Stormy Daniels, but with other women he's slept with, and also people in the White House.
But I'm not denying that.
No, I'm just saying.
And I don't think he should have paid them, and I think it's immoral. That's my view.
Yeah.
But paying someone to keep quiet, if I demand that you give me money in order to be quiet, I'm extorting you, I'm blackmailing you, which is itself a crime. Why would you support that?
What I don't support is the fact that in Donald Trump's White House, and I believe this is unprecedented, he has asked for not just NDAs from everybody who works there or was on the campaign, but also non-disparagement agreements, which means that nobody who
But hold on, you're not answering my question.
No, I am. I'm saying this is the way he operates.
Okay.
This is the way he operates.
But he paid her, or else she was going to besmirch his reputation. That's extortion. Okay. But where's the crime? I'm totally missing that. I mean, I think you could argue it's immoral to cheat on your wife. You guys don't believe in marriage, so you're not going to argue that. But instead you're arguing it's a campaign.
I sit here as a married woman, but yes.
But I mean, obviously that's the real argument, but instead it's a campaign finance violation? It's not.
It is a campaign finance violation. If you are using money from the campaign to pay off this woman.
Yes, that's a crime right there. But that's not what he's accused of doing. He's not accused of using campaign donations to pay her off, is he? Because that would be a crime.
I believe he is, and that's why he said, no, I used campaign
because that's
money
a flat out, I mean,
money.
Look, if I'm wrong, I will definitely stand corrected. And I will not defend that, by the way, because that would be a flat-out crime and people go to jail for that. My impression is it's his money. That's nothing to do with the campaign.
I think that is what he said, although the story, as you know, has changed quite a bit from I didn't know anything about it to I learned about it later.
My producers who are on this say there's no evidence that he used campaign funds. Again, that would be a crime, and I would be the first to say he should be prosecuted for that.
Okay.
But no one's listening. So why is it a crime to accede to an extortion demand? I'm totally, honestly confused.
The reason why that people have been very exercised about this is because this happened at a really suspicious time, right? It happened October before the election, so a couple weeks, let's say, right after the Access Hollywood tape had come out and had truly, truly damaged his candidacy to the point of people wondering if he was actually going to have to drop out or something.
Well, he won anyway, right?
So it was going to be coming out potentially at the same time. He wanted to make sure it didn't.
Okay, so
that is what it is.
So you're saying that if people had found out that Donald Trump might have committed adultery, something he bragged about on Howard Stern multiple times, that they wouldn't have voted for him, even after they saw the Access Hollywood tape where he bragged about his low sexual standards. So, like, actually what you're saying doesn't make any sense at all.
That's actually the case, though, is that his ratings, his approval ratings dropped significantly. His polling dropped significantly after the Access Hollywood tape came out.
So when Bill Clinton paid off during the 1996 campaign Monica Lewinsky with a job, when he sent her over to Bill Richardson for a job, paid her off for her silence, that wasn't a campaign finance violation. But this president paying off his girlfriend is...
Bill Clinton was extensively investigated.
He definitely was. He was definitely impeached. He shouldn't have been. I agree. But he wasn't charged with a campaign finance violation. Why is that?
I think that they're apples and oranges.
Okay. They're apples and oranges. I'm calling apples on that. Christy, I hope you impeach him so we can just have an honest conversation about it.
Thank you, Tucker.
Thank you.